trials with an Australian team or something, and it just didn't work as predicted. Really, it was just never going to work because of exactly what I just said. But when he was I think he was a teenager. Was he like 14 or something like that? He was a cricketer. That was what he was doing for like every single day. And we've mentioned it on shows in the past. Like in the Caribbean, cricket is massive. If you're a child growing up there, you either play cricket or you don't play sport, basically.
Oh, 100%. No, athletics is big in Jamaica. It's a thing. It's a big thing.
Yeah, no, of course. But back then, they didn't really have the athletic pedigree that they do today. And he was part of the generation that changed that. And I feel like it was one of his coaches when he was playing cricket who said, "You're quick. You are so fast. You need to focus more on athletics." And he went and did that. I think maybe he must have been about 14 or 15 or something. I can't really remember. But it was that moment that changed his destiny forever. He became the most legendary sprinter on the planet, the quickest man in the world.
Yeah.
And then, so it was at the age where he could then dedicate all of his time and all of his years into reaching the pinnacle, into reaching his peak. So I just feel like you said, it has to be done at an early age. And even for most people, 14, 15 is too late for most people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's
but,
very true.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know, like, cause you said you've gone from being sort of track and field athletics, yeah, and you dabbled with football. So there's sometimes you can watch players. So the person that springs to my mind is someone like Theo Walcott, who obviously would have had prowess at track and field being so quick. Mm-hmm. And then, because he looks like somebody who's been coached to play football. I may be wrong or may be right, but he may have been just a very supreme athlete in terms of being able to run and being quick. And then somebody said, you can transfer this onto the field of play. This is how you need to run. Do you think that's quite common? Because sometimes you look at some players and their makeup is about being athletic first, being quick first.
Yeah. I mean, with Theo Walcott as a prime example, he is what I would say, what we, as me and my friends, would call academy trained footballer. Like he's gone through academy. He is not like on the street type. You know, when we were playing, when I used to do kickabouts in my council estate, and you know, you're getting kicked up or you're playing with a can, or you're playing, you know, when you get those raw skills that you pick up at a very young age, you can tell that as opposed to somebody who's literally learned how to play football at an academy from day .1, and you can tell
they've learned it from a book almost.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. It's basics, and there's not any kind of I don't want this to sound derogatory, like nous. There's that kind of raw, kind of Brazilian creativity and flair that certain players just have inbuilt. Whereas with Theo, his game is based on speed. His game is beating a man, like beat you to the ball, get it past you, run around you. If you look at 60% of the goals Theo Walcott has scored, he's run at the goal and he's placed it like someone. He's literally doing an academy style academy style scoring technique. Very simple. Whereas even with me, when I actually started playing, the thing is, because I'd been like, my training regime when I was running was 6 o'clock wake ups, go and run, and you're doing, remember, so as a sprinter, you were doing 5 30 meter bursts to get that, what's what I'm looking for? Acceleration. Mm-hmm. So you're basically learning to run in a straight line. Do you know what I mean? You're not learning to dribble a ball, turn around people, and, you know, kick a ball left foot, right foot, all that kind of stuff. So when I started playing, I was a winger. Even when I was playing football, like, all of my friends were like, just stick Ken on the wing. He'll beat anybody to the ball. That's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember playing the football with a guy. He was an athletics. He used to do 100 meters, and he was quick. We always said, you got to be up front. You can't come back. Because we see your brain doesn't function, you going backwards. It's all about going forward. So it was like, okay, and it's that thing. We'll get the ball, and you can always run faster than anyone else. So we've got to get the ball to you when you're in on goal. And sometimes when you pass the ball and he's in on goal, it was like, okay, you've done that bit. Now we're going to hope and see what happens next. And sometimes he used to fall over his own feet. He was that quick. He just couldn't sort his feet out.
completely understandable. I remember there was one time I was playing with a friend. Yeah, he invited me. He was playing like a lower league level, and he goes, "Oh, you know what, Ken? Come and play this game. Come and play this game with me. I'm going to go and play for my team, and we're looking for a player." They brought me on eventually during the game, and they stuck me in central midfield. And after a while, the coach was like, "No, you're quick, mate, but you need to go up front." So I went up front. I remember there was a period. I scored one goal in that game. Do you know how I scored this goal? So the ball goes over, and it's between me and the goalkeeper to get to the ball first. And I'm like, there's no real reason for me to get to this ball before him, but I went full pelt at it. And you could see from the look on his face, he's thinking, okay, yeah, I can get here first. But then he sees me coming at him rapidly, so he doesn't even try to come and pick it up. He just thinks, okay, yeah, he's going to smash the ball out, get it. If in that, get it out, yeah?
Yeah.
He runs at it, he boots it, it hits me straight in the face, goes over him, and into the goal. I remember, like the rest of the team came to come and celebrate, and I'm on the floor going, that
goalie assist.
Thank you. Do you know what I mean? But it was the pace that I was running at here. He hit it so hard. There was no way I couldn't change direction. Do you understand? Like there was no, even like the ball's coming right at me, and I was just like, okay, I'm full pelt at this guy. And my pace is all I'm using here. There was no kind of get out of the way. I'm just like, let me get on this ball. And it was a good goal, I guess. At least no one ever recorded it. But the pain of it.
That would have been YouTube gold, man.
Man, it was priceless. And I remember my friend was like, yeah, man, you scored a goal. I was like, bro, I'm dying. My face is on fire.
One thing I noticed about YouTube, right? There'll be things you thought no one has ever recorded. Yeah. But once you start searching and the algorithm finds something you're into,
oh man,
it gets on nerves. So we should start searching that Guy Kenn.
Oh,
and somehow we'll find it.
Chill, bro.
So much. There's probably a lot on there that we don't want to see.
Oh man, look, I won't lie. I have been on TV. And
is it?
I hope nobody ever. I always try to just say, let's leave it there. Like I have been on TV.
Have you searched for it on YouTube to see?
I know where it is. I just will never tell you.
You know what I'm doing after finish this show.
Anyway, let's move on, guys, please. One of the things I wanted to go back to very quickly, and I think it's the transition from sports to sports to sports. And I said to you, one of the hard things is if you are doing a singular sport, let's say you are a motor racing driver or a tennis player, where you are playing in a singular sport. I think it's nigh on impossible to transfer to a team sport. Think about it. I don't think that. I mean, you could do it the other way, which is why you can go from probably being a basketball like Michael Jordan and trying to play golf. I understand that. Do you understand? It's that one makes sense.
Yeah.
But you can't do. I don't think. This is something when we were talking about this topic. I remember I had to stop and go. No, I don't think you can go the other way.
But take tennis for example. I mean, you could be a successful individual tennis player and be a successful doubles tennis player.
Yeah,
it's the same sport, but it's got that team element. So it kind of obviously the more people that you bring into a team, the more difficult it would get. But I don't know. I could see it happening.
Yeah, but the reason I say this is the person that you touched on, Usain Bolt, tried that. He went to the Australian League. And
yes,
he was never, and that league he was never going to be that was a level. I think that's the level that you can get to as a because he had the pace. Remember, he's a phenomenal athlete. He is the top, the creme de la creme. Everybody, if you're a sprinter, you exist to get to the level that Usain Bolt got to.
Yeah, of course.
But then you can't. But then that's even as good as he was, and how phenomenally he's the Jedi of track and field. He couldn't do it.
But I feel like the point that I was making earlier was in modern times, every athlete is so finely tuned to excel in their particular sport. Yeah. If you've spent, let's say you're 35 years old and you're past the best of what you can give to your particular sport. You've spent the last 25 years honing your craft. You're an expert at one thing and one thing only. You then switch to another sport, regardless what it is, a team sport or an individual sport. you're now competing against people who have dedicated that same energy into this sport. You're not going to be as good as them. Like, no disrespect to any like footballers out there. Like, if you're in the Australian League and you've been playing in the Australian League for 5 years, you're going to be a better footballer than Usain Bolt is.
Do you know?
Even though the Australian League isn't up there, like, you know what I'm saying?
Do you know one thing I noticed when I was in Brazil doing various like martial arts things, and maybe there's one thing which connects the two. It's about movement. Football has a certain movement to it, has a certain rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Running will have a certain pattern and rhythm to it. So if you're not trained with that rhythm of being able to go back, forward, side to side, which you see when you watch footballers doing their drills, their movement isn't any one thing. You've got to sometimes be able to pivot on the slightest form of movement. And I think if you're trained to be, Ken, you can help me out here. If you're trained to run at being at top speed, it's a different form of movement than if you have the ball at your feet, or suddenly you've got to make a short sprint, a longer sprint, or a different turn. Your movement's not different.
Completely. Well, let me put it to you this way. One of the issues that I used to have as well, because your body becomes aligned to doing one specific thing, you have to understand that in football, your body is doing something completely different. Now, imagine, I said to you, I'm playing on the wings, and I was using my speed. And you would assume that it's the same thing. You're running in a straight line, running down the line, right? You would think that there shouldn't be that much problems. I'm at a certain age now where I have chronic pain in my hamstrings because when I try to transition into football, the acceleration is completely different. Whereas in a sprint, you are kind of, this is what I'm about to do. You understand? Like, I'm going to run in a straight line for 200 meters, 100 meters. In football, even if your body is at a rest and then the ball comes down your line, it's an instantaneous acceleration. Do you know how many times I used to pull my hamstrings? I used to have...
Your body's not prepared in the same way.
It's not prepared for it. You think, okay, you can use that pace and do it, which is why someone like Theo had so many injuries. He's built for speed, but he's built for speed in a straight line. So there were times where if he's hit, boom, his soft muscles, the tendons between are going to be impacted very badly. So he could get an ankle injury and he's out for a longer period of time because the tendons are built for him to move at a quicker speed. So if you shake that or you rock it, his ankle goes, his knee goes, something goes, and he's not back. Do you understand what I mean? So that was a big thing for me, and I realized that I think I got to my mid-20s and I was like, I've had too many hamstring injuries. I've literally got to a point where it would, and the thing is, because you think you know your body. And remember, I don't have a physio. I don't have a physio. I'm not playing at that kind of elite level. So if you get a hamstring pull, you think, okay, you know what? 2-3 weeks I'll be back. Like, it was only when I started realizing that no, you need to, once your hamstring, because it's not a break, it's not the same kind of muscle as the rest of parts of your body. If you come back too early and it pops, you are now gone again for 4 to 6 weeks. High level functionality, high level.
You've got to know yourself inside out.
Your anatomy, how diet will affect you. Like, I mean, I heard of LeBron James.
Yeah.
He spends $1 million a year just on his nutrition.
And look where it gets you, though.
I know, but I was like, wow. Like, that's the dedication, that's the level that you need to be at, especially to be at. And the thing is that even like somebody was saying, like LeBron James is older than any of the All-Stars that we've ever heard of. Like, if we realize he's 36, really? All the guys who became All-Stars and have won championships were never that age. So we're talking the Michael Jordans, the Kobe's, none of them were still playing at this age. None of them.
This kind of takes us on nicely to like transcending your sport almost in a way.
Yeah.
Like, so what, like, I was going to ask, what does it really take to transcend your sport? Because in my eyes, the idea of transcending your sport is to be known by people who have never had an interest in your sport. So you almost become like a cultural icon. And like what you're saying about LeBron James, obviously, like the prerequisite for that is to be a winner. Like you have to be considered one of the greatest in your sport.